Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this upcoming full moon on May 29th, 2018. It's a very exciting full moon. It brings with it a very expansive and uplifting and life-transforming, life-upgrading type of energy that you'll not only feel, but experience probably in big ways in your practical everyday just life situation. Okay, it's very positive, powerful, potent energy we have on our hands and in our midst. Okay, so as I normally do, I'll break this update down into 5 different things, but before I do, I'll just let you guys know, if you're new to my channel, I have a free guided meditation that I made. It's designed for people going through an awakening to help with a few different things. One of them is to help you raise your frequency by getting into alignment with your true self. It's really good for healing and also allowing you to realize your own power to heal and change your energy state with your focused intent. It's my hope that you do the meditation a few times and then realize that you could just do that all in your mind. Okay? Anyways, check it out if you like. It's down below in the description box. Number 1, you might realize just how much you're now living and embodying a new paradigm, the new way, the new philosophy, the new way of thinking, the new higher conscious way of perceiving and relating with life will become more evident to you in your practical day-to-day experience. You'll notice more of a contrast between the new way and the old way that is fading out. I noticed this yesterday in the sauna. A lot of my stories tend to come from tales of the sauna because I'm living in Las Vegas and we go to this really nice gym and a lot of really interesting people kind of pass through and we always talk in the sauna. There's this one guy, I was with my friend Aaron Dowdy and we were talking to this one guy who we've spoken with a few times, real nice guy, real wise, real successful, millionaire type of businessman type guy. And he's always sitting there kind of we were always talking. And it was interesting to hear his perspective on life and business and whatnot, and how such a contrast between how me and my friend Aaron think. In the sauna, we were kind of letting him know and just kind of sharing with him a little bit about what we do, how we have YouTube channels and we express ourselves creatively out there and we try to help and uplift people, and we've found a way to kind of earn a living doing that, and it's good for us and it's good for everybody. And we also mentioned that we're going to be teaming up on this new project together. And there's a couple things this guy said. He kind of had problems with both those things. He said, well, who's your competition? You're just trying to figure out who our competition was. We're like, interesting, competition. We explained to them that we really, what we do, there is no competition because I'm very unique, and so is he, and so is anybody who has built sort of a business around their authenticity and founded and fueled by their life purpose. There's enough to go around for everybody when you operate that way. Technically, me and my friend Aaron are competitors, but whenever we get together, we actually help each other. We'll do a video together, and I'll send a bunch of subscribers his way, he'll send a bunch my way, and it's good for both of us. There really is no competition, only collaboration, as my friend says. Another thing he said, he warned us. He said, you really can't trust anybody in business. I was like, interesting. Neither of us said anything, but I know what I was thinking. I was thinking that that's not true because I can trust this guy. He's a friend of mine and like a soul brother, and our roots are deeper than any sort of, fleeting physical situation that we go about in life. And that's not empirically true. When there's a greater awareness of your ties with people, which you all have, there is a depth of trust that transcends this physical plane and allows for a lot of things that might not be wise for most people living in the old paradigm. It's sort of not relevant anymore. Okay, anyways, that was just sort of my experience of showing wow, how differently I think than even successful and influential people at the top of their game in that old paradigm. So I would not be surprised if you also attract conversations or situations to reflect to you just how much you already are embodying this new way of going through life. Living harmoniously balanced with honoring thyself and living in harmony and for also others and the whole. When you find that balance point, which is what we're all kind of learning to do, it syncs up and there's a synergy and there's enough to go around. There needs not be competition. It's just about helping. If I can help you, I help myself. Number two, anytime you have an energy like this, a very pivotal and transformative energy, there can be big endings and also big beginnings. It's part of the same whole. I'll give an example of how this can play out. It's played out many ways similarly in my life. This is speaking to somebody else. Her name is Rebecca, and she's I don't know what you call her, but she's like a psychic advisor, a very good one too. My friend Aaron, he sees her regularly and has been for many, many years, I think 6 years or so. And she recently was very ill. I didn't know exactly what the issue was. My wife sees her too, and we got a cancellation saying she's not feeling up to doing her sessions, and we'll be in contact. Well, my friend just saw her yesterday. Thankfully, she's doing fine, but she said that it was kind of a lesson for her that it's time to move on. It's time to maybe stop doing this one-on-one energy work and go on and do something else. And sometimes when it's time or appropriate or beneficial to turn the corner, you as a soul, as a higher self, will attract a circumstance, an illness, or something that can seem kind of random and cruel or unexpected, but only because without that experience, you would have most likely just continued going in this one pattern, in this one direction, when in fact there is now available something 1,000 times better and more ideal and more in sync, making the coming down with the flu or whatever a huge blessing. And even if that's happening, again, I like to remind people that, oh, wow, I'm sick and there's a prospect of not being able to do my job anymore. On one level, from a certain frame, that's bad. It's a bad thing. It's limited. It spells disaster. But when you come out and say, okay, energetically, and that will be reflected in my life, I know now, it represents the beginning of something new and fresh and better. You might be experiencing the opposite. You might just be exploding and expanding forward in many ways. And that's kind of how I feel. I'm going to be moving very soon. I have all these new ideas I'm going to be doing with my life and myself and my business. And it's just very, very exciting to me. A lot of really exciting, big beginnings are in store. So you might kind of fall anywhere within that spectrum, but it kind of comes hand in hand with transformative energy as we now have. Number 3, you might just find yourself utilizing your co-creative energy more so simply because you see the results that come along with doing such things. In a way this is playing out for me is I've been visualizing a lot. Every night before I go to bed, as of lately, I've been visualizing exactly what I'm going to do that following day, the different goals and things I have intended for that day. I don't just write them down, but I see myself doing them, see them through to accomplishment, and I embody the feelings of what it'll feel like to have had a good day. And what I'm finding is that I'm having very good days. Things are going just as I saw in my mind, and that's because that we have the ability to program and influence our subconscious mind, which primarily is what drives us around through life. In fact, I think studies show that 95% of what we do in life is primarily influenced by our subconscious mind. Now, for a long time, that scenario was playing out, and I was living life on autopilot, influenced by this damaged and dysfunctional subconscious mind of mine, pretty much just I didn't realize how programmable I was just from being in existence here, and how influenced I am from all the different sources of influence. But you can take over that whole game and put in to, as this guy Maxwell Waltz from an awesome book I read called Psycho-Cybernetics, he calls like the subconscious mind your servo mechanism. And when you visualize, when you focus and you program what you want to experience, maybe you want a new job or meet a soulmate or a new career or just to have a good day the following day, when you can put that, and you can influence yourself, and it works. I've been sort of waddling through life on autopilot, but in an ideal and favorable way, because I have been influencing my servo mechanism. Anyways, that's just one of the many ways it could play out. You just might be realizing in your own way that you control your destiny. You control and set the stage for your life experiences. And you might just find yourself being more aware of that and therefore taking full advantage of it in your own unique way. Number 4 is you might find that you are far more receptive and perceptive to even smaller, mundane things that pertain to you advancing and becoming and embodying more of yourself. My point is, you might be finding your ability to know smaller scale types of moves to make that will benefit you and improve your life. In the beginning of the awakening, a lot of it can be like you'll have a growing sense, a growing awareness that you prefer maybe a different climate. You don't like the winter. You're becoming aware of that. For me, I didn't like the winter. I was becoming aware of how much I don't like the cold and how much I really just prefer the sunshine. But that's vague. What does that imply? Okay, I'm stuck here. I'm living here in Michigan. What are you going to do? But that will become more and more, and probably very much so noticeably now, more refined, not so general, more usable, because you're more perceptive. And I'll give you an example of how this is playing out for me. One of the ways is that, some of you guys know, I have an online sort of mentor program where every week I get on and I do a live session with all the members, and I sort of teach them a new lesson and work with them as a group. And I've made so many changes to it over the recent months since launching it that I'm currently working on a new page that will kind of present it in its new form to people. And anyway, I was looking through these different images online at tarot cards, because in my dialogue on this page, there's a tarot card. I wanted to put a tarot card that would kind of like exemplify the essential message, to kind of give it more of a pop anyway. And I was going through these tarot cards online, and my mind said, oh, that would be a perfect one. I'm going to use that. But then I happened to catch my eyes caught this other one, and it was like one of my obvious psychic cues. We all have our cues. I get sometimes when something's relevant for me, like a wave of energy. It's kind of hard to explain, kind of like it's a feeling, like a wave of energy washes over me to say, yes, do it. This is you. This is perfect for you. And anyway, my point is like, yeah, use this card instead. Something kind of a mundane, simple, sort of specific decision that was so obvious to try this one. I'm at a point now where I'm thinking a lot about my future and what I'm going to do. And as I ponder ideas, for example, like writing a book, doing events, etc., certain things when I think about them can produce a noticeable elevation in my consciousness, where it's like, it's kind of hard to explain. It's an abstract thing, but I can just feel when my thinking is in alignment with what's ideal for me, to a way more obvious degree than ever. And this is good, because this will allow us to more quickly and just make wiser choices that will benefit us immensely. So if you're noticing that your psychic abilities are on overdrive, take advantage, use them, listen to them. Again, my mind wanted this one card, but I've been around the block long enough to know that I'm going to listen to the feelings and intuition, because there's a reason I'm feeling this way about this card. And number 5, just to kind of reiterate my introduction, there is a huge wave of very expansive and transformative and uplifting and supportive energy now here and building by the day, probably culminating around the full moon or maybe early June, setting the tone for the whole summer. Good news. It's good news. It's good stuff. It really is just an amazing, uplifting kind of energy that you might feel physically. Maybe you have some symptoms. I know I do. You'll certainly see it, I'm guessing, in the collective, in the real, on the world stage, probably playing out much differently than it will go for you. But for you, it means an upgrade to your awareness, more perception, greater perception and receptivity. As we mentioned, greater awareness of how far you've already come and how implanted you already are in this new paradigm, how much of a shining, radiant example you already are. And that's good, but that's kind of an intangible. You'll probably also notice it in your life, in your practical life. You'll see it coming together and big positive changes are shortly on the horizon for you. Maybe you're going to move or get a new job or get a new car or got a vacation planned or something really in a physical way to reflect these changes transpiring within you. Like the way it's playing out for me is in like 2 months or so, we're going to be moving. We moved to Vegas about 9 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. And now we're going to get like a nice home because we know where we want to live. Basically, we've done some exploration. And just the other day on the new moon, ironically, a couple days ago, we happened to drive to this place called Summerlin. It's a sort of location in Vegas. And it was just so ideal and perfect for us. We found this awesome neighborhood where there's even in the desert here, there's all these lakes, and it's close to my favorite spot, the Red Rocks, and it's a real nice, good schools, a nice family, or a lot of family-oriented stuff. In fact, when we drove into this one neighborhood, there's this one guy walking with this kid on his back, and he waved to us. Anyway, it was just very appropriate, very perfect for a real good match for what we kind of wanted in an abstract way. We're seeing reflected in me and my family in our life. And the awakening does that. There's a lot of going down and going deep and going within and uncomfortable symptoms and sudden changes that are scary and all this and that and this and that, and it can be rocky, but then there's here's why this is happening. You are expanding out of your old life, out of your old existence. And that's something that's neat to ponder, but it's also something you experience in a physical way, in a real, tangible, experiential, visceral way. That is what's going down, my friends, and I wish you well. I know you're going to be doing well, regardless of what's happening. Maybe you're going through a big ending right now and it doesn't seem that way. Just remember what's on the other side of that, okay? It's a good time. It's a good time to be alive. You've earned what's coming. Anyways, that's all, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this update. I'm a little bit tuckered out. This is the second video I shot. I shot another pretty good one, about 15, 20-minute video on the same topic over there. But I didn't have enough data in my storage on my phone, so it didn't record past a minute. So I'm going to go home and get some rest. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Namaste.